El Matador, the undefeated featherweight fighter, the ultimate champion who effortlessly took out two UFC legends on his path, has a new star.
He is an undefeated fighter. He is 27 years of age.
Stand up and do something. Humble.
Topuria is a monster, bro.
Topuria is a nightmare.
Extremely dangerous man.
Boxeando soy muy peligroso, tirando soy peligroso, en el suelo soy peligroso, soy peligroso.
He is another European who confidently dominated the entire division, and his story can easily remind us of another globally known tale.
Surprise, motherfucker! The king is back!
He's putting it out there no different than Conor back in the day.
I'm gonna KO you inside one round. They're all dressed like me. They're all trying to talk like me. They're all trying to be me.
The belt and
However, it seems that the Spanish-Georgian fighter is doing it all slightly better. Today, we will look at the story of Ilia Topuria and its parallels and differences with the fairy tale journey of Conor McGregor. It might seem that Ilia Topuria is indeed following in the footsteps of the famous Irishman who conquered the entire UFC in 2015 and massively popularized MMA. Both came from European countries. Both loudly declared how they would finish the hitherto unshakable champions, and both eventually managed to fulfill their statements inside the cage. They reached the top at a similarly young age and gained millions of fans worldwide. But Ilia Topuria's story is still quite different. Even though many call him McGregor 2.0, so far it looks like El Matador has picked out only the positive aspects from his Irish predecessor and has no intention of repeating his mistakes.
Now for our main event on the biggest stage, Ilia, the Matador Topuria.
His story begins in 1997 in Germany, born as the second son to Georgian parents who were refugees from Abkhazia. Interestingly, Topuria also holds Polish roots on his mother's side, adding another layer to his complex European identity. His childhood, shaped by survival and hardship in the aftermath of war, fueled an unbreakable will to succeed. The family later returned to Georgia during the boy's childhood. In his youth, he had nothing. He shared an old bicycle with his brother, who was 1 year older, just as they shared clothes. But even at an early age, their father showed both boys the basics of martial arts. They started with judo and karate. After returning to Georgia, they immersed themselves in Greco-Roman wrestling. However, their parents could not stay in the country. They left for Spain, and so Ilia and his brother Alex remained in Georgia. Both excelled at wrestling. They participated in national competitions and dreamed of one day winning at the Olympic Games. This upbringing, marked by political instability and separation from his parents, certainly ignited the right hunger in both boys. At the age of 15, Ilia was able to move to Spain to live with his parents again. But he didn't speak a word of Spanish. Integrating with new classmates and managing schoolwork was very challenging for him. But he and his brother continued with combat sports. They started training MMA in Alicante. The sport fascinated them so much that they convinced their father to allow them to interrupt their schooling and dedicate themselves fully to it. Their father agreed under the condition that they would truly give MMA 100% every single day, and that is what happened. Moreover, both showed great talent, fierceness, combativeness, and a desire to learn and grow. In 2018, Ilia and his older brother Alexandre, who is also a professional MMA fighter signed to the UFC, became the first Georgian-born black belts in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. The dream of Olympic gold turned into a dream of the UFC belt. Ilia watched George St. Pierre and the path to the throne of Conor McGregor. When Conor knocked out Aldo and became the featherweight champion, 18-year-old Ilia had his first 2 professional fights under his belt, 2 wins by submission in the first round. After 2 more easy wins, he was probably the best featherweight in Spain, a rising star with huge potential. But it was necessary to move beyond the Iberian Peninsula. Topuria managed to raise money for an expensive training camp at the All-Star Gym in Sweden. He was thus given the opportunity to fight in Cage Warriors and Brave. He finished the first 7 opponents of his professional career on the ground, 6 of them in the very first round. He only ran into real trouble in the cage for the first time in his 8th fight against Stephen Goncalves, but he managed to recover, and a minute before the end of the first round, he recorded his debut knockout, 8 wins, 0 losses, 8 finishes. It was clear that Ilia Topuria's name was already on Dana White's whiteboard, and it was only a matter of time before the phone rang. However, the call came at a rather inopportune time. Ilia received a fight offer just 8 days before the event, having tested positive for the coronavirus only 2 days prior. He isolated himself at home and believed he would recover in time. In the fight with Yusuf Zalal, he was not the favorite, but even so, Topuria came away with a victory by decision. After knocking out Damon Jackson, he made it clear that Ilia Topuria was a name to be reckoned with, and he began stating that the only name in the featherweight division that interested him was the champion, Alexander Volkanovski. This confident statement, which the world of martial arts likes, has been continuously backed up by Ilia. The next person to test him was Ryan Hall. Topuria finished Ryan Hall at the end of the first round. He later faced Jai Herbert at lightweight on short notice and knocked him out in the first round too. For his 13th fight, Topuria faced the equally undefeated Bryce Mitchell. Topuria dominated and easily finished him on the ground. According to his own words, he didn't just want to win. He wanted to make it look easy, which he succeeded in doing. Topuria was selected as the next opponent for Josh Emmett, a tough veteran. Topuria delivered a performance that the overseas audience called a masterclass. He won the 5-round battle unequivocally by decision. One of the scorecards even showed a rating of 50-42. Topuria demolished his opponent for a full 25 minutes. Yes, this was indeed a performance that backed up his previous statements and a performance that clearly earned Topuria a title shot, which he duly received. The featherweight title fight between Alexander Volkanovski and Ilia Topuria took place at UFC 298 in February of this year. Topuria's dream came true. He began proclaiming that he would finish Volkanovski in one of the opening rounds of the fight. He even changed his profile description on Instagram to Feather Champion, and the score is 15-0, as if he had already won the fight in his head. To further enhance the psychological warfare, Topuria specifically instructed the UFC to arrange a stage and a throne for him in the arena for the post-fight media ceremonies, making his victory an assumed reality. Topuria demolished Volkanovski. But unlike Conor, he remained humble in victory, a humble winner. The paths of both phenomenal fighters to the throne were great, but Topuria showed that money is definitely not his top priority. In late October, Topuria faced another legend of the sport, Max Holloway, for his first title defense. Holloway had never been finished in his rich career until the last weekend in October. In the third round of the breathtaking battle, Topuria landed precisely, and it was over. 16-0. Ilia Topuria became the ultimate champion at featherweight, with no motivating opponents left in that weight class. He therefore decided to fulfill his long-proclaimed dream, to move up in weight and win a second title. In the spring of 2025, he relinquished the featherweight belt, 145 pounds, and in June of the same year at UFC 317, he faced former champion and legend Charles Oliveira for the vacant lightweight title. He confirmed his status as an elite striker. Ilia Topuria finished Charles Oliveira by knockout in the first round, 2 minutes 27 seconds, thus becoming the first Spanish-Georgian fighter in history to hold 2 titles in different weight classes with an undefeated record of 17-0. Ilia Topuria is now the new, uncrowned royal star of the UFC, holding 2 belts. With an undefeated record of 17-0, he has become one of only a handful of double champions in UFC history and is currently ranked as the second best fighter across all weight classes, pound for pound. His success goes beyond the octagon. After winning his first title, he was personally granted citizenship by the Prime Minister of Spain and was greeted as a hero at the Santiago Bernabéu Stadium. This massive public support fuels one of his greatest long-term ambitions, to host the first-ever UFC event in Spain at the iconic Santiago Bernabéu Stadium. Furthermore, he is not only a fighter, but a businessman. He is a shareholder in the Spanish MMA promotion WOW FC, which recently welcomed football superstar Cristiano Ronaldo as an investor, strengthening Topuria's influence outside the cage. Despite all this massive success, he remains true to his conviction. Confidence comes from hard work, and if a person can back up every statement with achieved performances and subsequent actions, it cannot be considered arrogance. He constantly reminds himself of his journey, the difficult living conditions while growing up, the brotherly bond with his sibling, and his other dreams. Ilia Topuria has eliminated 2 ultimate nice guys with armies of fans from his path. The UFC, therefore, sees him playing the current role of the biggest villain for many. But with his approach and performances in the cage, he has simultaneously earned the respect of the entire public. What do you think? How far will El Matador's legacy ultimately reach? And how long can he remain an undefeated fighter on the throne? We will see. However, recent events have temporarily paused El Matador's invincibility. In late November 2025, Topuria unexpectedly announced that he would not return to the cage in the first quarter of 2026. This announcement followed months of public speculation regarding his personal life, specifically rumors of a separation from his wife and partner, entrepreneur Georgina Uzcategui-Bedell, with whom he shares 2 young children. He cited a difficult personal situation and the need to focus on his children and family. He stressed that he did not want to hold up the division, giving the UFC a free hand to organize fights among the top contenders. Ilia Topuria thus enters the new year as a 2-time undefeated champion, but with a question mark over his return and future at lightweight. What do you think is next for the double champion upon his return? Who do you want to see El Matador face in his next lightweight title defense? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Topuria's life and career, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more stories from the world of MMA.